everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Investing Bros. We got a great show lined up for you guys today, but in case you're new here, make sure that you join and subscribe to the channel. We go live every weekday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We talk about Bitcoin and crypto and stocks and news and everything you need to know to invest wisely for yourself. We got a couple things to talk about today. Bitcoin kind of rejected. It's actually kind of crazy. Again, we're going to go to the charts later on in TA, but it rejected right about what we talked about yesterday at a former support level. What is Bitcoin about to do next? But the bigger news of the day that we're going to kind of focus on, if you're looking at that title in the video, Fed to raise interest rates by 6%. We have some diverse opinions here. Cathie Wood, known Bitcoin lover, is saying that we might actually be close to the end. She's expecting the Fed to pivot sooner rather than later. However, the Bank of America and execs over there are strapping in for a potential 6% interest rate hike by the end of the year and expecting a recession to hit maybe in Q3. We're going to talk about what that would mean for crypto in both directions. So make sure you do not go anywhere. It is going to be a great show. T-Shroom is joining me this morning. How are you doing this morning, T-Shroom?
Better than I deserve, Tim. I'm a little less caffeinated than yesterday, but I'm feeling good. Got to see Big Victor in the gym yesterday. Shout out to Victor. Always good to chat with you, man. And now, let's get into our quote of the day here, Tim. And it comes from one of our favorite mutually appreciated comedians, and that would be Dwight Schrute. He said, "All you need is love." False. The four basic human necessities are air, water, food, and shelter. Tim, do you agree with this statement?
You're not going to catch me disagreeing with Dwight Schrute. So 100% agree.
Really?
Yes.
Well, hold on. Let me see if you agree.
Even if I think that the statement's wrong. So this is how you break it down. Maybe the statement is wrong, but Dwight is always right.
Gotcha.
So that's how it works.
Because there's another one here.
Okay.
That says, if I were buying my coffin, I would get one with thicker walls so you couldn't hear the other dead people.
Yeah.
Do you think that also is a prudent thing to do?
False statement, but Dwight's right.
Because that money, instead of going into thicker walls, could be going into Bitcoin, helping pump the price.
It's true. I don't know if I even want to buy a coffin. Like, I don't know. I haven't really made my mind up yet on what I want to do there. But if I was going to buy one, I would follow Dwight's advice and buy one with thick walls. Because, who wants to hear other dead people? You know?
Yeah, I don't.
You know, you want to rest in peace. You know?
Yeah, that's true. That's
rest
true.
in misery. So
that's true. Also, big thanks to everybody who watched the short yesterday. If you haven't seen it, it was a lot of fun. We poked a little fun at ourselves and our geographical foibles that sometimes we make, and I'm sure you can relate to that as well.
Oh goodness, T-Shroom, I'm gonna ask you the question I asked everybody else. Let's see what is currently at. Dude, it's hovering right at 51% to 49%. I'm interested in what you think. What in your opinion is the superior form of exercise? And this is interesting. You're in the Army, and I know you have to do a combination, but you got to choose one. You can only do one for the rest of your life. Which are you doing, strength training or cardio?
Ooh, probably cardio.
Why?
Yeah, I mean, cardio, it's better for longevity of your life, right? And I feel like that's one of the only reasons I exercise. I'm not a big, muscles guy. I genetically was blessed with a decent physique already, so... and I get told that pretty much daily.
Yeah.
And, that's kind of the way that cookie crumbled. But when it comes to, actual health, I think heart health, cardiac health is more important than muscles.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Okay.
I'm going to disagree with you. I think strength training is the way to go. Actually, even scientifically, it's weird. You would think that as an older person that you would be able to continue to do cardio. But cardio, when you're not building up the strength and you're just building up your lungs, which is a great thing. You can actually tear your body down, whereas the benefits of strength training, you actually can put off arthritis. You can build up the strength to continue. So as an older person, some people complain that it starts to get painful to walk up and down the stairs. I've seen people literally, they'll go for a 3-mile run, but then they struggle up and down stairs. Strength trainers do not. Even when it comes to just overall, just keeping your body in a good spot. Let's talk about getting older. Let's talk about, you and I, T-Shroom, we're not fresh chickens anymore. We're not, but we're approaching 30 here.
We're somewhere in between.
Very soon.
Yeah.
So as we start to get into our 30s and 40s, and we're not necessarily worried about not being able to walk up and down stairs, but you want to talk about what's more healthy for us, what gets your metabolism to go higher, it's strength training. So scientifically, strength training is superior. Well, but I also am a big advocate. Here's what I'm a big advocate of. When people exercise, I just say, do whatever you enjoy doing that keeps you moving and have fun with it.
Freedom Advocate said body breaks down 12% muscle mass after 40 every 10 years.
Yeah.
That's an interesting fact. Well, here's what I'll say is my girlfriend Amanda, she's pursuing a doctorate in physical therapy, and I've got the likes of Tim. I've got a buddy who's really into like bro science and different things like that. What I found is I don't understand health. Like, I generally have a good understanding of like many different broad topics, but for some reason, when it comes to like health and exercise, I'm just always wrong. So I don't know. I kind of just take the L on that because I'm surrounded by people who do know what they're talking about. And I'm just like, whatever. Just tell me what to do. Just tell me what to do. And so I'm totally fine with that.
I can't tell like you're being facetious.
No, I'm being
you're
serious.
Wrong because your girlfriend is a PT.
Yeah.
You know,
She knows a ton
so she
about
knows
that.
her stuff.
Yeah.
You know, that's funny. Yeah. I mean, again, I leave it up to everybody's opinion. My opinion is strength training, and I think the science backs it up. Even like things like testosterone. So we're talking about, if you're a man, cardio can diminish your testosterone, whereas strength training increases it.
Yeah,
that's another big thing. Is like as you get older, you start to worry, where are my test levels at?
Yeah, I mean I'd rather have more than less, right? But that's that's another thing. Like I don't really care about my testosterone levels.
You're just operating at such a high peak level, you can afford to lose some, is what you're saying.
I think obviously that, yeah. But yeah, I mean I get, but I don't know. It's also one of those things where it's like so ambiguous. It seems like every year, like science comes out with some major development in health and exercise where it's like everybody's been doing it wrong. Sugar is actually the best thing for you. Oh, now it's the worst thing. And it's like
I don't think anyone's ever said sugar's the best thing.
I don't want to spend my time studying something that changes every year like that,
Yeah.
I'd rather study Bitcoin, which never changes.
Yeah. I guess it also depends on what kind of cardio. This is the last thing I'll say is like running. I think running is probably usually the most traditional form of cardio. Did you know, T-Stream, that every single time you take a step while running, you put 3 times your body weight of force of pressure on your kneecap?
But see, doesn't that make your kneecap stronger?
No, so it wears it out. Like when you see people get hurt during running, it's because they're just so exhausted, and because they haven't been doing strength training, because they have to train for their cardio stuff, they'll literally tear and break stuff down. And then okay, here we go. I said this last thing. Female soccer players. Did you know that female soccer players, like the average female soccer player, or no, it's like 40-something%. 40% of female soccer players that play in like at least college level, if not professional, are in wheelchairs by the age of 50.
Wow.
Because of the amount of cardio that goes on and just destroys their knees. Versus when you look at female strength athletes, if they're not doing a bunch of crazy drugs that break their body down, a lot of them are still weightlifting like in their 80s.
Wow.
So scientific.
Well, it looks like Army Piper agrees with you. Said birth strength training is the best. Yes. So either way, I'd love to have the salary of a female soccer player. All right, moving on.
Yeah, let's keep moving on. Let's read chat here for a second, and then we will jump in here. So, I asked that question. We're at 55% strength training, 45% cardio. We'll keep going. We got 62 votes. Got to get more votes in there. But our first comment of the day was a mellow fellow, and I can't read it because my screen is blocking it. What did he say this morning, T-Shroom?
He said, good morning, and now I can't see it either. But I remember he said GM,
he said GM,
let's go,
GM.
probably.
Yeah, but he said for Tim. It was a special treat for me, so I had to make the joke. There was a lot of vehicle jokes in here this morning, but I'll just read some names here.
These polls mess up the chat, but they
definitely they cover the first comment, so you can't see them. Other people here this morning, CBD Suddy is here. Let's see, T-Shroom is in chat. Go figure. Mike Play is here. Yair Navarro and Mr. J right there back to back, which Mr. J says General Motors, that's for Tim. I'm loving the love here with the General Motors jokes. It makes me feel really loved and appreciated.
Yeah.
But we got a lot of competition recently for that first comment.
And the other thing too is like if you FOMO into General Motors, you're probably not going to lose money because they're going to probably dominate the EV space over the 10-year span. They're not the luxury EV space, but they'll do well.
So it makes sense why people always talk about General Motors in our chat. Yeah. This is an investing channel, so that makes sense. Henry C. Hernandez is here. Who else do we have? A lot of a mellow fellow coming. He's really proud. I mean, good for it. Hats off to mellow fellow with the first comment. Let's see who else though is here. Justin Eubanks saying Chevrolet. Way to change it up there, Justin. Curtis Rorick is here. Mr. Bitcoin is here. Crypto JMP is here. John Kahn, Trevor, Grand Roofing Incorporated, Crypto Mini Bike, Army Piper, Josh Denhams, who works at a Chevrolet dealership, so shout out to Josh.
There you go.
Crypto Trades is here. Gia S, welcome Gia S, so glad to see you in here. Brian D, Eric Wallen, Elo Brown, Zeger, and we'll get like a couple more here. This is a really hard one. Isdro Isidro
I can't see it.
Ulloa.
Aloha. I like that.
V-Slim, and let's go 2 more. Alton Henderson and Servando Estrada.
Servando.
Yes, there we go.
I got a special one.
You do?
Donnie White says, great show. Just found you all. Was hoping you guys would be back after copying crypto. This is a special moment. There are people still out there who do not know about the Investing Bros. Yeah. So it's good to have you on board. Donnie White.
Yeah. I mean, we've been here now for, I think, 2.5 months?
Yeah.
We're not even 3 months in here.
Yeah. We've got a competition coming up that you all can take part in to help spread the word. Yeah. So hopefully we'll be able to find all the Donnie Whites that are out there that are just waiting to become an Investing Bro and join the most generous community online.
Yeah. Well, we're really behind. But make sure you guys check out that giveaway coming very soon. A lot of cool prizes in there. Let's go ahead. It's 9/11. Let's go ahead. We're not even going to tease the news. I know we got teased shrooms sitting across.
So, wow. Did you just say the baddest word, Tim?
One of the worstest words we've said on this channel. When you have tease shroom sitting across the desk from me, I know he's biting. He wants to tease some news, but we're not going to let him do it. We're going to jump straight into the charts over here. Goodness.
Well, just for the record, I never tease the news.
Okay.
I give a little bit of an update of what the news is going to be on the second half of the show. I would never tease anybody. Let's
go ahead and go over to my chart. Let's take a look at what Bitcoin is doing this morning. I want to kind of start from a big macro outlook. So just a reminder, it's really easy to get bogged down and remember the details of hey, this is bullish, this is bearish, this is bullish, this is bearish. Remember, Bitcoin we broke out and have confirmed that we broke out of a falling wedge pattern that we'd been in ever since the all-time high back in November of 2021. Now, we already retested this former resistance line as support. The question is going to be, do we come back down and test this line again? Do we potentially even come back down and retest it at a level that gets us a new bottom? Either way, this is still a good direction. When we talk about the longevity of what Bitcoin does moving up and to the right, it's always good just to kind of come back over to this chart and say, that's right, we did break resistance. We are doing things that we hadn't done in a while because it's been a full almost 2 years, it feels like, over 100 years, it feels like, of being in a very bearish pattern. So this is some good stuff here. Let's go back over to my other chart here, though, where I got a lot of different levels, a lot of things going on over here. Let's take a look at what the oscillators are doing this morning on the daily chart. Nothing necessarily too special. We're not forming bullish divergence on the RSI. The MACD is kind of, it's heading back down. We've crossed bearish here the last couple of days. Yesterday, we did have a pink histogram and ended up changing back to full-on red. So we are still here on the daily chart a little bit in a more bearish territory. Here on our chart prime oscillator, we did have this reversal dot or this peak dot. This is what's really cool. I'm still learning about these things, but if you guys are using chart prime, or if you want to, which by the way, there's a link in the description down below. You can go get it today. Absolutely phenomenal tool. These blue dots, these are just marking peaks and bottoms. So anytime you see these blue dots, that just means, hey, we're hitting peak. It's when we see the green and red triangles, those are the reversal ones. Those are the ones saying, all right, we didn't just peak out, we're reversing. So sometimes you do see them kind of correspond, and sometimes you see them replace each other. But right now, most recently, we did get a peak. We did not get a red triangle, so this doesn't necessarily mean confirming this has to be a full-on reversal of the trend, but it is something to keep an eye on that when we touched that 25.2, we peaked out. Just one more piece of evidence talking about the significance of 25.2 and can we actually break through it and move to the upside. Let's take a look down here at our 4-hourly chart. This is where things get interesting. I told you guys we did something yesterday. This is one that's like... I said yesterday too, I don't relish the I told you so's or the I was right, but you do, like in the same way I will point out every single time where I make a call that I'm wrong, I'm going to point out where I was right. We talked about this yesterday during the show. You back on my screen? Back on the show, we talked about watch this former support zone that we've been in be turned into resistance, and sure enough, let's go all the way down the hourly chart to kind of see it. You can see, yes, we had some wicks to go above it, but the hourly candles closed right at that level. We reversed. We're back down now. Why is this important, Tim? Even though, again, it's one of those things that's like, are we absolutely going to drop back down to like 20,000, 19.5, cover up that CME gap? It's not a guarantee yet, but when we start doing things like this is what we've been doing here recently. We were in a bullish mode. We were setting a flat top with 25.2. We had a rising level of support. This is what we call an ascending triangle. This is very, very, very bullish. and then we break it and we come back up and retest support, turning into resistance. That's a bearish move. But then we set this new level of support. Like, okay, maybe there's still hope. Maybe we're just changing how we're doing this. And we break through that one and come back up and turn it into resistance. These are very bearish pieces of news. If I am a bear, if I'm shorting, if I'm someone who's still speculating that we need to revisit that CME gap, or we need to revisit and get a new bottom, these are the things that I'm wanting to see to give me confidence that I'm right about the prices going down. We'll talk more later in the show about the interest rates and how that could really impact. And if we do see something close to 6%, that would be very bearish. But as it stands right now, these are the signs that bears are looking for. Are they massive victories? No, they're not massive, because we still haven't seen a price below 22.7 here for the last couple of weeks. But these are the beginnings of a reversal that the bears want to see. Let's take a look here. Let's go over to our chart prime chart. It's usually somewhere here in the middle. Let's take a look at some things happening over here. Let's start out on the daily chart looking at the chart prime indicator. So I got my market oracle. I got my smart money concepts up here. I got my chart patterns up here as well. We're hovering right now. So this little line right here, this is a line of like predictions of places where we more than likely should go. We're hovering right on the daily chart where it thinks we should go. So the question is, what is next? The second most likely place we're going here, the next level of speculation, will be all the way down here at 18.8. That would fill the CME gap. Now the daily chart, it covers a lot of grounds here, but it is something that we definitely should be keeping an eye on right now, is that, hey, we're sitting at a level that it makes a lot of sense we're sitting at, but the next one could be all the way down towards 18,000. Let's take a look at the 12-hourly chart, where we have a formation kind of forming here, a rising channel, and that's where we did find some support here just a couple of days ago, bouncing on another support level, bouncing on a couple different spots. We bounced right at the most, the biggest prediction here on the 12 hours is actually 1800. So we bounced on the number 3 option. Really cool. These are just probability ones. We bounced on it right here at 22.8, 22.7. You had wicks come down here. The next one up above us, though, is could we get back to 25.2, and then do we potentially change the game, breaking that and moving to the upside? Either way, Chart Prime is giving us a channel that says this absolutely could be possible. Again, when we're looking at traditional TA, there is some skepticism, but some cool things I'm looking at here as I'm watching the Bitcoin chart. We did get this reversal, this bullish reversal triangle that came in, followed by this green bullish momentum dot. So 12-hourly chart looking slightly more bullish than the daily chart. It's giving us a little more hope that potentially maybe a big drop is coming, but maybe not just yet. There is some stuff happening there. Let's go down all the way to the 4-hourly chart, see what's happening down here, where the 4-hourly chart's actually calling for a new ascending triangle. Yes, that line looks like it's slightly increasing. This is just kind of like what it does. If I were to move over to my traditional chart and zoom in here, let's go to the 4-hourly chart, take a look right here. Let's see, am I matching that correctly? Yeah, okay, that's right. It only wants to measure, it wants to keep drawing this out, which I gotta zoom in here. Give me just a second. It wants us to take this level, come on now, and extend this level continuously. And then instead of using our support levels down here, it wants us actually to come down and test these levels right here. So this would be what we're looking at right now. Could we be forming another ascending triangle? That's what Chart Prime is kind of hinting at. This is another bullish formation. Now, we had one before that ended up breaking, but this one's a little bigger. It has a little more momentum. We've had some oversold markings on our oscillators. We've had the green reversals. There is something that just popped up here just a little bit ago. I think this would have been late last night. We got a momentum switch over here on the oscillator. So this red dot came in. This is not necessarily a strong reversal. This isn't saying that we're done here, but it is saying, hey, last night on the 4-hourly chart, the bears did seem to take a little bit of the lead. Let's head all the way down to the hourly chart, where currently what we're doing, we're wrestling with our dynamic reactor. We did break through yesterday, and I thought that maybe we could turn it into support. Well, it didn't hold up very long. We fell back through, so it's going to be very big. We have some bullish things happening over here. We do have bullish divergence on our Chart Prime oscillators. We have a lot of bullish momentum dots. So we do see on the hourly chart, we see a little bit more strength. And we see a little more bullish things, but the prediction tools below us, every single one of them on the hourly chart is below us. So keep your eyes on this. We kind of have a mixed bag this morning. This would be a morning I am not necessarily looking and saying I would advise any type of long or short position. This is a hold and wait. You also going to notice here on the hourly chart, we have a couple different zones here. We're bouncing and rejecting off of the equilibrium. These are the predictive ranges we have right here with, guess what? With all these shots, all these things is telling us, hey, there's a probability of these zones, it coming back down to test for liquidity. It's coming all the way down to our 1-hour discount zone. Could make a lot of sense for Bitcoin to revisit 22.7, maybe even go lower. That's something we've been talking about in our Discord over there. And you know, I was talking about 22.7. I ended up being right, But others, like I think Cryptex mentioned this, the Army Piper definitely mentioned this. There's a lot of things looking at the 22,200 region that also looks interesting. And just because we haven't hit it yet does not mean we don't hit it down the road. So keep your eyes on things like this. Kind of wrapping this up in a nutshell on Bitcoin, we see a lot of signs that are bearish in traditional TA. They could take some time. They're on higher time frames, so they could take some time to play out. We're seeing some shorter time frames be a little bullish on chart primes indicators. Again, one more reason why I'm not seeing this overwhelming amount of confluence. We also know the news right now is a little more skeptical. So for those reasons, this is not a position I'm looking for any type of long position or short position when it comes to Bitcoin. Let's take a look over at the Dixie, because this is one of the biggest factors that will kind of move. I don't want to look at chart prime though. I want to start over here with traditional TA. Let's go out to the daily chart right over here and take a look at Dixie. Now, it's very interesting when you're looking at these two because traditionally, Bitcoin and the Dixie will move in opposite directions. But it does seem like over the last couple days, Bitcoin hasn't fallen as much. I know we got a lot of lines going on in there, but last 2 days on Bitcoin are red. Same thing for the Dixie. So this is one of those weird situations where the Dixie and Bitcoin are actually kind of working together in tandem. They're moving the same direction. We're going to have to kind of wait and see what that really means. Usually they move in opposite directions. Right now they're moving together. We did just have the Dixie bounce off of, if we go to the linear chart, our 0.382 levels on our Fibonacci. This is really important here. You're also going to see when I pull up the oscillators, we did set up our bearish divergence on the Dixie. So this could be a good thing. But again, while we want to see red candles on the Dixie, if we want our crypto portfolios to go up, we saw red candles on Bitcoin as well. So could we see a very small amount of confluence between the two of them before they break off in opposite directions? What we're looking here on the Dixie, what would concern us is, while we have this bearish divergence, keep an eye on, do we end up breaking through this 105? And if we do, there's technically a couple levels above us. Like I would look at 106, I would look at 107. If I were to pull up our volume, let's take a look at volume real quickly. Look at some levels. Yeah, so right here, about 106, and then there's a valley here at about 107 as well that look very interesting. But what I'm potentially concerned about is this peak that we have all the way back up here at 10, let's just call it 9, because that's 108.9. 109, that's the peak that we had back in July. It's also right there, literally right above the 0.236 level on our Fibonacci retracement. This could be majorly bullish. And if we get a lot of hawkish nature from Jerome Powell here, in how many days do we have with the CME gap now? We have about 22 days, so 3 weeks. We absolutely could just dabble and stay kind of boring for 3 weeks. If we get hawkish narrative from Jerome Powell, watch a potential climb for the Dixie all the way back up towards this 109, high 108s prediction. And that would be a big bearish catalyst for Bitcoin and crypto and everything like it. I'm going to take a pause right there. We're going to do a little bit more TA. I want to take a look at Matic. Matic is one, I think Matic's had a really special run here, T-Shroom, but there's a lot of bearish nature. Like, whereas Bitcoin kind of a mixed bag, and we looked at Cardano yesterday. Cardano has some bullish stuff going on with it. Matic overwhelmingly looks like, after having a fantastic run, it's going to move into the downside. But make sure you guys stay tuned for that. I saw we had some super chats though, so that's what I want to address. We have Elijah. Let's see here. Elijah Belgar.
Yeah. I'm hoping that what he said is an inside joke. Otherwise, it's kind of an unnecessary use of a sensual term. But I think you go for it. I don't think it's that bad. But
yeah,
again,
I've been watching. I don't care. I've been watching you guys progress since 2021. We're not so crypto Tim engorged in blockchain and became a sentient in financial markets. Hope. I think it's endearing. Like, yeah, I mean, could be. I don't care. He's right. Okay, so let me just tell you, in case people didn't know my story, I invested in crypto in 2020. Was my first ever Bitcoin purchase. But when I got into the space, I was only came into space to help run a company. You know, I was just going to help Jeb run a company. I had no intention of learning crypto. But then I joined the show, and the role of me on that show was to be the idiot, just asked questions.
Gotcha.
So that Jeb could answer those questions. And I call myself the everyday person, the everyman, the voice of the people. Crypto Sec guy always loves that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, and now I'm just the kind of person, when I get involved in something, I throw myself at it, and I want to be the best at everything I do. So I was like, screw it. I work for a company that talks about crypto every single day. We teach technical analysis. We help people change their lives. How stupid is that if I work here and I don't take advantage of this?
Yeah.
So I just grinded. I learned.
There was no inside
where I am.
joke with the word engorged?
Should that be an inside joke word?
I don't. I could just see Smay like misusing that or something, and then it being a big thing that blows up in the chat because that word is usually synonymous with something that happens to the male anatomy.
I think Elijah's being endearing here. I don't think he's.
I think he is too. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt. Could have also. I'm not. Not been aware of that use of the term. Maybe it's me. I'm the problem. It's me. I need to look at myself in the mirror and take a good lard. Yeah. A good hard audit of my character.
Today is not the finest day of our English.
Yeah, it's true. Yesterday was not a finest geography.
Yeah.
And today is not the best English.
That's what you get with this. That's what you get with this show, guys. You get the best of us and the worst of us. That's how it goes.
What I will say is you guys saw TA Tim over there doing some, and he knows crypto now. He used to not, but everybody
I used to not to.
He used to not to, and now he would and could, and he has. What I was going to say is, if you go to our description, which is just right here, just below where you're more than likely watching, you can see the link for Chart Prime. You can go there and check it out. You support the channel when you do, and you just saw all the awesome insights Tim was able to get on Bitcoin. So
yeah, there's a Robinhood link down there as well, which will be a very interesting topic.
There is a Robinhood link
because there's a story today.
There is a Robinhood.
We didn't get to tease.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't teased anything, and we never have on the entire show.
That's true.
Ever in the history.
You never tease anything. Last super chat, the second super chat we had here from Army Piper said, "Your Chart Prime skills are getting awesome. Love the bros. Smash that like button." That's big praise from Army Piper.
That is
because he is the genius. He is the Chart Prime guy. But I'm learning it. And that's one of the cool things about Chart Prime that I love about it is I've now been using it for like 2 weeks. I still have a lot to learn. I don't consider myself a genius, but it's so like with the content that they have and the way you can go through it, it's very, very easy to digest. Even if you're not a technical analyst, they make it very easy to understand what's going on in the chart and make some good, it helps inform you on how to make good trades. By no means should you ever use anything just by itself to blindly invest in things. But when you attach it with some understandings of the market, Chart Prime is phenomenal. It's the best tool I've seen out there to help technical analysts get some bigger picture of the show. Yeah, let's take a look at Matic, though. I did tease it. I said we're going to take a look at it. Let's go over here. Traditional TA. Not necessarily a pattern forming, in my opinion, here, but there is something to keep an eye on, which I gotta address this down right here. This is something cool. I've had this line drawn just for a while now. I don't know why it was tailored up there, but this is one I called this when we hit this peak back here in February. I remember we did it's been a while since we did Matic TA, but I told you guys to keep an eye on a third touch of this resistance level. Sure enough, we did it. We got up to 156. I might have said 160. So you know what? I'm going to take the L on this one. I think I teased and kind of hinted at a 160 price and a retouch of this red line. That is my mistake. I was wrong. It only hit 156, but we did get the line. So I was half right, half wrong. We're coming back down here. We are kind of starting a little ascending level of support on a shorter timeline. Let's take a look at the oscillators, though. We're out here on the daily chart. We do have, so here, I told you it's overwhelmingly bearish. The MACD is definitely bearish. Our oscillator here on Chart Prime is bearish with, we got the revert, we got the peak dot, we got overbought coming in. We have two red bearish momentum dots coming in here. But, let's take our wins here, Matic holders. We do have some bullish divergence for me. So maybe we get a little bit of a bounce right here on the daily chart for Matic. Let's take a look at some smaller time frames, though, and I want to check out what Chart Prime is saying about it as well. Let's see, that is not bullish divergence right there. MACD is kind of a mixed bag, going back and forth, kind of moving sideways. After being oversold here on the 4-hourly chart, we did get a red bearish momentum candle came in. And we're moving down. We came back down to the support line once again. Let's take a look over here. I got to move back up to our Chart Prime indicator. Let's go out to the 12-hourly chart. Let's start there, see what it is saying here. So we came back up. This predictive range is these places that is saying the probabilities of it's going. We just came back up and touched number 1. Number 2 and number 3 are below us all the way down here at 105. So this is something that's going to be really interesting. Our equilibrium on the 12-hourly chart is hovering right here, same as this new golden line of these predictive ranges. This could be at 114. So 117, 114 are interesting spots. Dynamic reactor sitting at 110. Maybe we hover sideways and dynamic reactor meets us up here at 115. But these predictive ranges, these spots that have some interesting liquidity that it could come back down to, keep an eye out for Matic around 105. Might not be a bad buy spot. The third option would be a complete dropout all the way down here to 72 cents. I don't think that that's likely. 105, $1, that would make a lot of sense for a good place to be picking up some more Matic. But again, keep your eyes. Anything is possible, especially when we're looking at what the Fed's going to do. Let's go down the 4-hourly chart, see if it says anything else to us over here. Discount zone sitting around 113. What did I say? What did I say back here? Why is that 105? What did I say? Okay, so 113. All right, so here we go. My brain kind of got mixed up right there. Discount zone sitting around here at 115, 117. So just one more reason we got rejected at the equilibrium. Our dynamic reactor on the 4-hourly chart is back above us. The more I'm talking and looking through these charts, guys, yes, we have some predictive ranges down below us at the 105. So those are still really interesting. As we're moving down, it's calling for those numbers. But I think I would not be surprised if we actually end up going that low. But what we first do, maybe we get a little bit of bounce because we have some bullish divergence. We come back up to this golden band. We fall back down to discount zone around 114, 115. We make a little break up, but don't set a higher high. And then we make our way down to this 105 region. Not going to be surprised if we see Matic do something like this. So you might want to scoop up a little bit here on 115. Maybe scoop up a little more here on 105. If you're believing in Matic long-term, I definitely am. The partnerships they're making, the things that Matic is doing, they're not going anywhere. But it is time for a little bit of a cool-off for Matic after a phenomenal last couple of months. These are just parts of how the market moves. That is the technical analysis that I have for you guys today. If you guys enjoyed that, we got 130 people watching, but only 71 smashed four-fingered mittens. And it's been a while, T-Shroom, since we talked about four-fingered mittens. The reason I say that is just take a look at that little button. Can you show the screen, T-Shroom?
Okay, I've got it right there, baby.
How in the world would there be more than 3 fingers in the fist part of that like button? That's a four-fingered man right there.
I think so. Whoa.
And you guys just saw a great demonstration of what it looks like. You get a little, like, it's like fireworks. It's like your small reward. We get the like, you get the fireworks. It's the win-win situation. Go ahead and smash that. We're about to jump into some stocks and news. Was there anything you saw interesting in chat, T-Shroom? I do see Elo Brown says Robinhood is a tease. There, I said it. So
Robinhood is a tease?
Well, he said Robinhood is. I'm just reading the comment. Robinhood is a tease. There, I said it.
I think that couldn't be any further from the truth.
Okay.
The market's open, folks. Let's go ahead and take a look at it here. I am predicting that it's going to be pretty much red across the board. I'm not sure, but let's go ahead and check it out. Energy coming in, definitely not red when it comes to oil. Oil up 1.8%. And then your natural gas is down, but only marginally so. We'll take a look here at oil really quickly because yeah, okay. That's about where I was thinking it was going to be. So it has put in a higher high here and is traipsing onward, moving forward with a pretty big candlestick here. Like I said, up 1.8% today in the first 3 minutes. Up above, getting up above that midline for the Bollinger Bands. This is the daily chart. And, it's going to try and make a run up there for 83 and see if it can make that happen. But it has been really kind of trading sideways. I would say consolidating, but the highs and lows have really not consolidated. We get the lows have the highs have consolidated to some extent, but the lows are pretty much coming back out to that range of 73.50-ish around there and moving sideways. But you guys don't care too much about oil, do you? Doesn't seem like it. Indexes are red across the board. NASDAQ leading lower. Actually, the opposite of that. The Dow leading lower. NASDAQ selling off the least amount, down 2.8% as I'm reading it, and the Dow Jones down 3.7%. We'll circle back on those indexes here in just a second. Let's get an overview here of crypto. Pretty much red across the screen, except for Uniswap, up 1.7%. Bitcoin futures contracts up 0.5%. And then Tron, clinging to the green status there, down up 0.2%. And then Litecoin up 0.7%. So that's pretty nice. Let's see who's leading lower. It's going to be, looks like AVAX, nope, Optimum Chain. So Optimism Chain. So OP is leading lower, down almost 5%. Let's take a look at that. It's been on a big tear recently, as it had a pretty big partnership announcement with Coinbase. So kind of reverting back here, testing the midline there for testing. Where's the 200-day on? Oh, it's well above its 200-day moving average on the daily. That's pretty impressive. All right, let's keep moving, guys. Metals, gold and silver down quite a bit. No, actually not quite a bit. Sorry, 0.1%. So not very much. Not really moving in the early minutes here. Let's see. Mega cap tech looking kind of mixed here. Meta's up. Yesterday they came out with some news that they're going to be deploying some of their AI tools that they've been developing for a long time. A lot of these big tech companies will just sit on new products instead of release them. And Meta is choosing to release them. So they're up 1.6%, bucking the trend of the overall mega cap tech space, which is red. And Tesla also bucking that trend, but only by 0.7% there. So not too much. Moving into bonds, seeing the yields come up today. As you're seeing just a slight, sell off there in bonds. Let's check out the Dixie. Did you look at the Dixie today?
I did. Yeah, we talked about it's in a reversal zone, but if it can break through there, there's a lot of room for it to run.
Yeah, it's looking like a little bit of hesitation before it wants to go higher here, which is probably a good sign. Let's see, mid cap. Your mid caps are pretty mixed. Yeah, nothing really to see there. And then your oil producers are pretty green across the board, which is not a huge surprise because we had oil popping this morning. Circling back on the indexes, nothing has really changed. So that is going to round out our summary there of the market open. I'd say overall, not too much major movements. Seeing a comeback in oil, but it hasn't even reached the midline of that trend that I have drawn out for it, so I'm not super worried about that from an inflation narrative standpoint. Crypto, pretty mixed. So overall, kind of to be expected. Nothing really shouting at me too loudly there from those charts. So going over to our stories though, what I want to talk about first is the Bitcoin conference. So yeah, Bitcoin 2023 is coming up, guys, and we actually have a link down in our description as well. There's a chart prime, but here's Bitcoin 2023 conference. Guys, when you use code InvestingBros, you get 10% off tickets to that conference. I'm going to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
What are the dates, you might be asking? Well, it would be May 18th through the 20th. And I believe that you can get tickets that are just for the 19th and the 20th. But I'm going to be there, I believe, all 3 days. So that's going to be a ton of fun. You got speakers that are going to be there. Those are Arthur Hayes, which has an excellent newsletter. I read almost all of his newsletters. Michael Saylor, obviously, goes without saying. Michael Lewis, Jack Maller. So if these are some names that you're interested in, you definitely want to hop on that link
and then
down in the description.
There's some other names that they're just so high on the list that they can't afford to put them on there.
Right.
Some of them could be concerning to you, like for example, Tom Wilkes, Matt C, and CryptoSec Guy.
Yes.
They'll all be there, and that's very worrisome. Miami's preparing heavily for that because that could be trouble. I'm a little afraid of what they could do. That's why I can't attend this year. That and a baby, having the same, like the due date like a week after.
Right.
That's the 1-2 punch of why I can't attend this year. But I do plan on going to 2024s. But yeah, there's some fantastic people from this community, other communities that are going to be down there. Just so you guys know, I went to last year's. That's where I first got to meet Matt C and Tom Wilkes. I met a couple other people after that. But the conference is great. The people are great. Like the booths and things, the things you'll learn are great. But honestly, what I will say is the number one thing of these conferences is getting to meet these community people you've been talking and chat with and you've been engaging with. It was the best part of every single conference I've been at is getting to interact with you guys.
Heck yeah.
And meet some of the other influencers in person. It's definitely worth every penny if you guys can scrape them together and go. So
heck yeah. Well, we are never going to stop talking about inflation, it seems.
No.
And that's definitely not going to change today. So we've got some inflation prints here, but not domestic prints. These are from France and Spain, and France came in hotter than forecasted and hotter than previous, so no bueno there over in France. And in Spain, it looks like the month-over-month came in definitely hotter. That's the inflation rate month-over-month prequel. the inflation rate year over year also came in hotter than forecast and previous. So inflation proving to be stickier than we thought it was going to be.
Why'd you highlight stickier? Why stickier?
Because that's what it is. It's stickier. The inflation's stickier here. It's sticking
Interesting
around.
Choices of words.
I appreciate that, Tim. Yeah. GDP over in Switzerland doesn't matter. Who cares? We're going to keep moving. All right. The United States has for the goods trade balance advance, guys. Not a huge impact here. I don't think the markets are going to swing too much on this, but is down more than revised the previous revision. So that's overall bearish. But again, I'm not putting too much weight onto that one. The housing price market month over month came in at previous. So that's going to be a wash as well. And then at 10 o'clock, you get the consumer confidence report, which is kind of important. I think that'll probably move markets in the minutes ahead, and then it'll get interpreted by Wall Street in one way or the other. So, and then you might be asking, well, what is the CB consumer confidence? Well, it is a measure, the level of consumer confidence in economic activity. It is a leading indicator as it can predict consumer spending, which plays a major role in overall economic activity. Higher readings point to higher customer optimism. And what may not be intuitive to you is you actually don't want this number to be doing all that well because it actually promotes inflation. It drives inflation. Consumer confidence does. A lot of what Jerome Powell has been saying and doing is trying to erode consumer demand. And one of the ways you do that is you drive up the unemployment rate. You know, it's a weird, wacky world we live in, folks, but we're here to help you digest it, help you to understand it. And Robinhood has a lot to digest and understand here because Robinhood is now facing SEC investigation over crypto business. Their entire business is being investigated there. The company disclosed the investigation in its most recent 10-K filing with the SEC. In it, the company lists among the various disclosures of potential risk to its business a subpoena from the SEC regarding Robinhood's supported cryptocurrencies, custody of cryptocurrencies, and platform operation. Now, here's an interesting little development here. This almost seems like a plug. So this is kind of the way that I'll read this. Robinhood currently lists 18 cryptocurrencies on its trading platform, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin. Investors can buy it as little $1 to get started with digital assets. And you can click on our link right here to get Robinhood. Doesn't it kind of read like an ad? That's how I read it. It almost seems like this whole thing is just to get a way to spread the word that Robinhood even has crypto. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you. The reason why we have that link is because I use Robinhood for a lot of crypto trading. So that's just something to keep in mind. I get a lot of hate, a lot of haters. What the heck? Oh, that's the journalist. Okay. Look at her. She's enjoying a nice, looks like a tea there.
That's a good tea with a lemon slice.
Yeah. That's a lot
of ice,
I think that's
though.
a lime.
That's part of the crime. Go back to the picture. Look at how much ice is in that glass. That restaurant's making bank.
That is a lot of ice.
It already doesn't cost that much to make tea,
Yeah.
but then they store up that glass with ice. They're just taking you for every penny you're worth.
This country going downhill fast.
Goodness gracious.
Speaking of downhill fast, that's not anything related to this next article, but it's a phrase that is commonly used as a colloquialism in the United States. So a little English lesson there from two guys who don't speak English very well.
An old lesson.
Elon Musk reportedly recruiting team to develop OpenAI chatbot rival. So you heard it, you love it. I just closed a tab of it. This is ChatGPT, baby, and Elon has something to say about it. Let's read on. Let's get into the details. Musk has contacted AI researchers. This is being done with the intention of creating a new research facility that will be used to develop ChatGPT alternatives. Very interesting. There's an unrelated image. Let's keep moving. Musk has been taking shots at ChatGPT, or AI in particular. Responding to this tweet from Sam Altman saying, interesting to me how many of the ChatGPT takes are either this is AGI, obviously not close, or this approach can't really go that much further. Trust the exponential. Flat looking backwards, vertical looking forwards. And then Elon replied to that saying, ChatGPT is scary good. We are not far away from dangerously strong AI. And he's been outspoken on this for a while on Rogan podcast and just in other publications like that. And he said, closed source maximum profit company effectively controlled by Microsoft. He pointed out that he created He pointed out that he created OpenAI as an open source nonprofit company.
Yes, he was a part of the development team and helped invest and do a lot of stuff. So
yeah, and he does not like that it's been bought by Microsoft and could potentially be used for profit maximization. Now, what I will say is that I am a proud owner of Microsoft, and I was very happy and have enjoyed the upside in Microsoft as a result of their purchase of ChatGPT. But I totally get where Elon's coming from, Tim.
Well, this is the dynamic. We didn't talk about it too much because it wasn't crypto. We could have, but a couple weeks ago, Elon expressed his disappointment with OpenAI because he helped create it. He helped get everyone knows Elon's really invested in AI. He has a bright vision for what he thinks AI could look like in the future. The truth is, what's really crazy about him is he's going to figure out AI faster than any countries do, and what his goal is to help protect individuals from governments who are going to create AI to do things against us. But his disappointment was that when he created, the whole purpose was that it would stay a nonprofit and that it would not be a biased source. So, I'm not going to get into the crazy politics, but already ChatGPT has had a couple things come out. Like, for example, I saw this, and again, this doesn't, no matter what people's opinions are about these people, I don't care if if it was reversed. I would have thought it would be bad if it was reversed. Someone asked ChatGPT to write like a glorious story or something really like uplifting about Donald Trump, about how he was a great president or whatever. And ChatGPT responded with like, we don't get into politics. Yeah. They pretty much refused to answer the request. He then typed the exact same question but replaced Donald Trump with Joe Biden, and it spit out this glorious, paper or whatever. So again, even if the roles were reversed, I'm not trying to make a statement here that's like, oh, it's against conservatives. The point is that it showed a bias already early on. Those are the types of things that Elon wanted to get away from. So when I saw this article this morning, I told Jim, we got to talk about this and bring this up because this is really important, is that we've seen the signs. We saw last week, we thought it was really funny. The president of China said that China is not going to use ChatGPT because he believes ChatGPT has the potential to spread propaganda, which was very ironic that the president of China is concerned about spreading of propaganda. But it makes an interesting point that it is potentially there. And what Elon, I think, is wanting to do with this new board is he wants to get back to why he originally funded and helped create OpenAI in the first place, to be a non-profit, non-censoring, what's the way to put that? Like it's not going to be biased one way or the other. It's just going to be open information to help the world progress. Bias aside. So I think this is really good. And by the way, I think it just seems like everything Elon touches turns to gold, and then when he stops touching it, it goes away. Hint, hint, Bitcoin, he touches it, it shoots up to 64,000. He drops it, it jumps back down. Shouldn't be a crypto leader, but I do believe in Elon Musk's ability. Did I just say I believe in Elon Musk? I believe in Elon Musk that he has a better operating system for building this type of stuff than other people. So I think this could be very big and very helpful to a decentralized world that does not get just drowned in propaganda, in biased news and information. So
no, it's interesting. There's a lot to be said about it, but I think overall, I like to see Elon taking a bigger step into AI. That's for sure. As someone who sold Tesla for profit, I'm no longer really interested in the Tesla story as much. Just looking for another buy opportunity. All right, well, moving along with our stories.
We did have breaking news.
What's that?
That I want to make sure we'd say. So he just texted to me. He put it in chat as well, but Army Piper just texted both of us. But T-Shroom, like a good little boy, does not check his text during the stream, which has come back to bite us in the butt a couple of times. But he is doing a great job of staying focused, getting the job done. But scheduled maintenance, trading unavailable the 4th of March. Buy, sell, trade, and Coinbase card will be unavailable beginning on the 4th of March at 8 p.m. Pacific time. Transfers may be unavailable or delayed. Other features, services may be intermittently degraded during the maintenance, approximately 8 hours. So if for some reason on the 4th you guys are trying to access your Coinbase, buy, sell, whatever, and it's freaking out on you, it's maintenance. It's not Coinbase going down. So, it's going to be fun on the 4th to see FUD articles about Coinbase. But
definitely.
This is planned.
Yeah. And speaking of which, you guys can check out our Robinhood link down here in the description in case you wanted to have a crypto exchange that doesn't ever go down. Just kidding. It goes down sometimes. All right, moving along. Let's get into the other stories here. That was just a joke, guys. I mean, definitely check out the link if you're interested in purchasing equities. But it also does crypto too. But we don't know for how much longer. The SEC might come down on them hard and force everybody onto Binance. All right. Bored Ape Yacht Club creator Yuga Labs reveals first Bitcoin NFT project. So that could be interesting. Not going to get into this, but that is actually kind of an interesting development. I sold my ApeCoin, and I believe I bought Polygon. Yeah, I think I switched it over to Polygon and staked it. So that's what I've been up to with my ApeCoin, kind of out of that world now. But this is kind of an interesting development for those of you who are in the high NFT world. Well, we're getting into the Fed here a little bit. Let me actually, before I do that, make sure. Yeah, let's get into this story really quickly because we're gonna talk a little bit more about the Fed stuff and inflation. But Coinbase to suspend Binance USD stablecoin, saying it doesn't meet listing standards. So that's not a huge surprise there, guys. But this is a development that we wanted to make sure everybody's aware of in case you're trading that BUSD to X pair, that you are making sure that that's good to go for your trading strategy going forward. Okay, moving into the inflation/Fed stuff. Per our thumbnail, let's get into it, guys. Fed may raise policy rates to 6%, says B of A. That is what's kind of being proposed here. The number is higher.
Who is the old B of A?
B of A? Oh, that would be Bank of America, Tim.
There we go. Good.
I appreciate you keeping me honest on that. The number is higher than a peak of 5.4 by September that traders are currently pricing in. So 5.4 is what the market's pricing in, right? And let's actually illustrate that a little bit better. So if I go over to a SPY chart, what does this really mean? It means that the price action here has all been pretty much from here forward has been pretty much pricing in that we're only going to go up to 5.4, right? Well, now things might be starting to change, and it's right around the time that we're testing this major support, and by we, I mean the S&P. So let's go ahead and round out this article here, but I just want to give you a little bit of context because now the number might be 6. Aggregate demand needs to weaken. That's what we talked about with the consumer demand that's going to be coming out here at 10 o'clock, which we'll probably stick around for. Continuing. Aggregate demand needs to weaken significantly for inflation to return to the Fed's target of 2%. Further supply chain normalization and slowdown in the labor market will help, but only to a degree, says B of A in a noted date, February 27th. So that kind of makes sense. Moreover, these processes are taking longer than we and markets were expecting. It added, B of A's hawkish stance comes after it recently added expectation from another quarter by basis point hike in June, following similar moves in March and May for a peak rate expectation of 5.25 to 5.5, as we said just a second ago. That represents the range of that 5.4 number. The brokerage expects the U.S. economy to tip into recession by the third quarter of 2023. Now, Tim, before I throw it over to you, I want to give the counter argument, which is coming from Cathie Wood, and she was on CNBC earlier yesterday, but we're not going to click on it because then we will fall into the ire of the copyright mafia over at the U de la Tubes. So just briefly, though, she was pretty bullish, saying the most brutal interest rate increase in history is nearing an end, right? And as we just looked at, during that time period, yes, we've been in a downtrend, but ultimately, we haven't tested the major support levels back here, right? Again, this is the S&P. Let me actually even go to the SPX just so we can get the accurate numbers that you're probably used to seeing on CNBC. So 3,000 is kind of the big number that a lot of people were kind of fearing. That was kind of the low end of the prediction, and we have not come anywhere close to that. In fact, from the lows, we're about 13% off from that, which in the equities in the traditional market is quite a bit. So we've got about 6 minutes left in the show. I want to throw it over to Tim.
Yeah.
Where are we going with this? Are you afraid of 6%? Is just this new FUD? Is it something that the market does need to adjust to, and if it does, is that going to be okay?
Yeah. Throw it to my screen real quick. Sometimes later in the show it doesn't like my screen, but today it does. Okay, good. All right, so I've done this a couple days in a row, but I'm going to do it again. But I'm going to kind of emphasize when we talk about what the Bank of America is saying, getting closer to 6%, the percentages are increasing actually pretty drastically, despite the fact that the highest probability still is leaning at we get to 525 to 550 and then we pause. Either way, this is something to keep an eye on. So March, we got 73%. This has gone down. This was a 50% basis point, had gotten all the way up to like 34, 35 up here somewhere. It's back down to 26%. More than likely, we're going to get 25, even though some people are saying 50, just because what the Fed might decide, Jerome Powell might decide is, yes, inflation wasn't where we wanted it to be in February, but we need to see more than 1 month of bad news before I flip the script. Yeah. All right, so 25. Then May, high probability, 72%. Yeah. We're going to get another 25. Makes sense. All right, little chance of 50, but we'll see how that increases. Here's where it starts to get a little bit crazy. So this should be the last one. Probability 61% chance that we'll get another 25 in June. This will raise us up to 525 to 550, right? This is probability. But what's starting to shift is this right here. The chances of the chances of pausing in June used to be up towards like 35-40%. What's increasing is a 50% chance in June. Now, not likely still, it's only 20%, just a little more than this, but this is what I'm talking about. This level used to be a lot higher, this level used to be a lot lower. It is flipping. Let's go over into July, where this is the first time we're predicting with 44% chance we're going to just pause in July. Well, guess what? What we were wrestling with, this used to be over here in the middle because there was a chance we might have a small percentage we might have a cut, and this level right here getting a cut was sitting actually at 30%, and this one was sitting at 37, 38. It was the highest probability, but it was close here. Now we're seeing another 25 basis point hike in July start to pick up. That would take us to 550, 575. That's what this article of Bank of America is concerned about, is that while currently the thought is, we've heard Jerome Powell say 5.1. There's thought that he's going to update us at this next Fed meeting, and the plot's going to move up to 525 to 550. Yeah. The question is, will it move up to 550 to 575 or even 575 to 560? And these probabilities are increasing. Let's go to September. 35% chance in September, even though it's still saying we're going to hold, 35% chance to 42 that we're going to increase there. At least we're going to be up at 550. 31% chance in November. It's a greater probability than any cuts. And even here in December, let's go to the last one. The December one is still giving us highest probability we stay still and slightly more that we're going to cut than go up. But either way, when we're looking at these predictions, probabilities of 550 to 575, it is increasing almost every single day. That's what Bank of America is referencing when it's saying, could we approach 6%? You're seeing the CMA futures group, like they're moving in that direction of saying, we're not ready to say with certainty that's happening, but it is a probability. When it switches over to Cathie Wood, here's what I will say about Cathie Wood. I think that she's a very, very smart person. Yeah. She has a history, maybe not recently, but a history of good investments. And the other thing is, like, even though I'm going to say like her most recent takes have not been the greatest, even people who purchased Bitcoin like at 50,000, 60,000, and right now that looks like a terrible, terrible thing. Let's fast forward 10, 15 years when Bitcoin's sitting more than likely at close to, if not over $1 million or higher. A $50,000 Bitcoin purchase is a beautiful purchase. In the same way, if you back up in history, at some point in history, an $100 Bitcoin purchase was a terrible purchase. Now we'd be saying, oh, that's beautiful. Tomorrow, by the way, teaser, we're having Crypto Savvy come on the show.
Yes, we are.
Very excited to get his take. He's more bearish. He still's holding out for a probability of 3,000 to 5,000, to which I'd say, T-Shroom, there's a part of me that would love 3,000 to 5,000, because you know how many Bitcoin I would buy if Bitcoin gets down to 3,000 or 5,000?
How many Bitcoin would you buy?
A lot. But at certain times in history, a $5,000 purchase of Bitcoin would be a terrible purchase, and you would have been ridiculed and made fun of and been told you're the biggest idiot in the world. Sure. Now you have the opportunity to purchase Bitcoin at $5,000, and then we're blasting off to 100,000, $1 million. That is a beautiful purchase. It's all about perspective. So while Cathie Wood, she's had some moments of like, it's like, oh, that looks like it was, in the timing, it looked like a bad purchase. In the long run, we got to give her years before we actually see how those play out. Yeah. And what she's saying here is she went back and in this video, she talks about the hikes of the 1980s and how a lot of people back then had the same feeling of, oh no, here we go, it's getting out of control. But her quote or her claim, and I would have to, fact check this and do a lot more information digging to say if this is true or not. She said those who made the prediction that it was going to get over sooner rather than later, those are the ones that made better plays, who are in the long run had better investments. So Cathie Wood is a smarter investor than Tim Warren. I will give her that credit. it doesn't look on the surface like what her take is correct. Everything is pointing at an aggressive Fed and inflation being out of control. But we will not know until it actually happens. I would love for Cathie, I don't know if we're large enough for channel, but I would love for Cathie Wood to come on here and explain her thinking and just get to hear that diverse thought. I can't wait for tomorrow when Crypto Savvy comes on, and he's probably gonna, we'll ask him about this. He'll probably gonna say, dude, are you kidding me? The Fed's gonna freaking crush it. 6% might be a low number. We might go even higher. We're gonna have to wait to see this play out. Ultimately, on this channel, as we're kind of like even wrapping up, not this story, but even the show, we want to just reiterate to you guys, we want diverse opinions. All weekend. We want bulls on this channel. We want bears on this channel. I feel like T-Stream and I, we're kind of neutral characters here. We never get too bullish or too bearish. We really just try to look at the charts, look at the news, continue to update our opinions. That being said, I love hearing and reading articles from super bulls and super bears. So we'll get a little taste of that tomorrow. This is something we'll have to continue to unpack. We got 3 weeks until Jerome Powell speaks again, but I do think we get one more inflation number before that. So it's going to be a very interesting next couple of weeks, and then it's going to be a very interesting next couple of months watching this whole play out.
Just really quickly, guys, the CB consumer confidence just printed. The actual was 102.9. The forecast was 108. So, in a unintuitive way, this is actually bullish because this is showing that demand is decreasing, which is what the Fed is trying to do with
What's the revised? What's the flashing revised?
That would be the probably the revision from January. I don't know though. I don't know. All I know is that the market's going to react to a miss here, and the market wants demand because there's companies like Walmart and Amazon that want demand, right? Those companies are not going to benefit from the loss in demand from consumers, but that is good because when there's less demand, that eventually brings down the quantity demanded, which can have an effect on price of goods, and the price of goods is what inflation is. So that's the long and short of why that's important, and that's an overall bullish print. Unless you're huge into consumer discretionary, but that's done well this year, so no worries to you.
Cool. Well, we're gonna close out today's show. It was a great show. Terrible English. But the information was good, and I thought it was entertaining. I felt like we did a good job today, T-Shirt.
I think that you are correct.
I think so too. If you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure on your way out you smash that like button. We didn't even do a lot of presses or likes. We're at 112 likes. We had like 130 people watching concurrent. This was a phenomenal show. You guys are fantastic, and I even want to remind you guys. I saw in chat. I announced you. I told you guys Savvy's gonna be on the show tomorrow, so make sure you tune in. Somebody said they're like, "Oh, Savvy." Like Savvy's a person that some people like, some people don't like. Here's what I want to encourage all of you guys. Even if you disagree, like I'm not going to agree with everything Savvy says. Savvy's not going to agree with me on everything. But first of all, he's going to come on and we're going to show him respect because that's just what we do as humans. But second of all, like I want you to really, if you don't like hearing bears, if you're a super bullish person, you don't like hearing bears' opinions, I really want to challenge you to change your thinking. Even if you don't agree with them, there's nothing more powerful than getting to hear the opinions and thoughts of someone that disagrees with you. So either A, you get educated and update your information, or B, you can listen and process their thinking and understand where their thinking went wrong to help update and confirm what you're believing. Either way, the best route to learning and growing is to always stretch yourself, have conversations with people that disagree with you, respect them, have them respect you, and that is the way forward in this journey that we're all trying to do. We are all trying to educate ourselves. We're all trying to update our investments and provide for our families and make this world a better place. That starts with having these types of conversations. I'm super excited about it. Cannot wait for that interview. Hopefully you guys are the same. We will see you tomorrow morning. You guys, though, have a great day.